we go on this Friday. Glad to have you with us as we get ready for another weekend of Notre Dame football. We've got the Fighting Irish and the Razorbacks kicking off at noon tomorrow, noon Eastern time, of course, right here on Sports Radio WSBT, the flagship station of Notre Dame football. Sunny 101.5. I'm just talking ahead of myself here on the South Bend Market and the Notre Dame Radio Network, the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Game day begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow. No location except here in the studio. Tim Grau, Jim Irizarry, Eric Hansen, Tyler Horka, they will be here with you. I'm Sean Stiers. You're looking at the mug of Jesse Stiers if you are watching on the YouTube channel. And right now, here's Vinny. Fitzgerald is back, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, everybody?
Here we go.
I like that entrance. Like Johnny Carson.
That's right.
I like it.
How are you feeling? First of all, everyone, we haven't gone into a whole lot of details. You had some health stuff happen a week ago today.
Yes, a week ago today.
You can talk about as much or as little as you want. The floor is yours because Vince has been out for a week. Jesse and Trevor and Bobby have been pitching in, and Jesse is scowling at us right now, but Vince is here.
So a week ago today, I was actually in the emergency room waiting room listening to the show, trying to take my mind off the fact that my stomach hurt really bad. And at that point, I was about an hour in, and I was like, well, I'll listen to the boys, and because I was supposed to be on the show, obviously, and I told you, I was like, I'm on my way to the ER, man. My stomach's hurting me real bad. And so I listened to the entire show. Then I listened to the high school football game. And at about halftime of the high school football game is when they finally called me back. So 4 hours later, they called me back into the examination room. And it takes about 30 seconds of her poking and prodding and be like, yeah, that looks like appendicitis. I'm like, that would have been good to know about 4 hours ago because I'm hurting here.
Yeah.
And so long story short, they fire me up, get the IV in, start pumping fluids. And next thing I know, I'm on the operating table. So got home around 12:30 and been recuperating and resting ever since. So I would say I'm probably back to like 60, 65, 70% in that neighborhood. Certain positions still hurt. Like this one doesn't feel great, but standing up, walking around, I can sleep on that side now. Like those are all good things, So yeah, just kind of honestly being bored, like
I bet
it's boring. I don't feel like the world is just passing me by.
Laying around all day, just sitting there in your own little cocoon, huh?
I do not like it, Sean Stiers. I don't like it at all. But here we go. I mean, I know
this is what happens when you get old, Jesse.
Yeah, seriously. I know I'm gonna be in for a mountain of work when I get home, when I get back to my day job. But it is what it is, man.
It's amazing the drive. I think I texted you this last week. The drive-by nature of medicine in I don't know if it's the world, if it's just here in the United States because of insurance and everything else. It's like, run the card, get you in, get you out. That's it.
Yeah.
I think I was the same way when I had my, my episode a few years back. It was like, put the pacemaker in and
get them out.
Remember, I might have stayed overnight just to, just for them to make sure, like my heartbeat and stuff was where it was supposed to be. And I think it was less than 24 hours later. So it's just like, get them in, get them out.
They offered me to stay overnight. They're like, if you want to stay, you can. And I'm like, that's going to cost a lot of money. I'm just going to go home. I'd rather sleep in my own bed if you're giving me the option. So I went home. Like, I don't know. It was very weird that they're giving me the option. I'm like, what do you suggest?
Right.
They're like, we'll roll you to the car. No problem. I was like, well, let's do that then. So went home, and I've been home ever since, basically. Driving around a little bit the last day or two. Got to the movies yesterday.
Yep.
So, it's good. Saw a nice, good football movie.
Michael Chiklis.
The Senior. Probably haven't heard of it. It's an independent film. But it's got Michael Chiklis from The Commish.
Or The Shield, depending on which way you go.
He plays a 59-year-old college football player for all intents and purposes, and like kind of what his journey. He got kicked off his football team the first couple of days of his senior year, got kicked out of school, regretted it his whole life, went back, tried out, made it, and played like personal protector on the field goal team, that kind of a thing. But it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
It's better than sitting at the house and.
That's what I'm saying. It was me and like 3 of my best friends basically at the movie theater on a Thursday at 11:30. There was not a whole lot of people in the theater.
Vince was trying to get me to skip the press conference yesterday. The Zoom.
It's like, you don't need to go to that.
Based on what we heard, I mean, it might have been worth it just to go. What do you think, Jess?
Not a lot of information was being presented.
Jesse, you seem like this is end of the week. You seem a little like, has this been a stressful Jesse day for you?
The battery is running low on my socialness right now.
You look like the battery is running low on your socialness.
Dude, TikTok for you, pal. TikTok.
I know.
This is, you've got what, 8 days of bachelorhood left?
8 days.
It's going to be here before you know it, buddy.
8 days.
We sent out manuals to people. And I'm still getting asked questions.
Manuals?
Just like information
package. You should see this thing for their wedding next week. We received a package in the mail a couple of days ago, and it's page after page of this is what's happening. Here's what's happening when. Here's
probably
the table.
Useful, right, Vince?
What's that?
Super. You would think super useful.
You would think. I would actually appreciate something like that. I would make fun of you hardcore, but then I'd be like, actually, this is pretty useful.
Are the questions coming from my house? That's
yes.
what I would ask you. Oh, of course they are.
Oh, boy.
Oh, of course they are.
Kind of narrows it down.
Probably driving home right now listening to you. So
at one point I texted and I said, all this information is in that nice packet Naomi sent you.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And not many questions have been presented since.
Can we just talk about what happens at a 4-hour rehearsal dinner, though?
Whoa.
4 hours of dinner.
Rehearse.
Yep. The rehearsal is before the dinner. The rehearsal, and then there's a 4-hour dinner. Like
no, it's all in one. It's all in one.
Sure about that?
Yes.
So the rehearsal starts at 5?
The rehearsal and the dinner are all. It's one event.
Is it all like at the restaurant?
It's at the wedding venue.
It's one of these all-inclusive venues.
I
don't think you included that detail in that said package. I'll have to look that.
I think you need to bring the packet to the show on Wednesday, and I think we need to go through it because that'll be the last time you're on the show beforehand. I think I need to see this thing.
We need to do a walkthrough, a game day walkthrough.
Yes, I think there needs to be a walkthrough. Like for my wedding, we went to like an Italian restaurant. Like went to the church, did the rehearsal. Everybody went to the restaurant.
Let's talk a little football. Let's try to get happy.
Right.
By the way, I've been wondering when this guy's going to show back up again. Penn State Sports.
Of course, you're 3-0.
Our old friend from the chat.
Yeah, who have you played? Villanova, Florida International.
You played nobody.
Does any Penn State opponent actually have a win yet?
It's really funny because if James Franklin loses this game.
It's gonna be great. Nothing would be better than watching that happen.
I know my whole weekend. It's a really good football weekend. I didn't realize Georgia, Alabama was this weekend. Penn State, Oregon.
I know.
Obviously Notre Dame, Arkansas.
Notre Dame's game will be over early.
Football,
but actually the two big games are going head to head. Like they're both primetime games. So
they're both at night. That's good. Be able to watch it. Okay.
Yeah. Penn State Sports Talk. Come back Monday. Win or lose. I want you to hear win or lose on Monday. Okay? Deal. We'll talk then. We'll talk then. All right. So Notre Dame, Arkansas tomorrow. I'll let Vince start since he hasn't got to talk any football with us all week. This was a presumed win for Notre Dame tomorrow coming into the season.
True.
How strongly do you feel about this game right now on the eve of Notre Dame, Arkansas?
I'll go slightly rapid fire here. I'll go scale of 1 to 10. I'm like a 6.5. Brian put out all of our predictions over at irishbreakdown.com and on the message board. And
does that really matter though? Do you ever pick against Notre Dame?
Not recently. Not recently, but I'm just saying I predicted a on the scoreboard a decent win, right? But a lot of points being scored. I think I had like 45-28 or something along those lines. So I mean, that's still a significant win from a numbers standpoint, but it's also like 70 points total. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think there's going to be this defense is not going to get fixed overnight. I think we can all agree on that. I think that there's going to be a lot of points scored, and I think if you're a fan of offensive football, you're probably going to enjoy 12 o'clock on Saturday, and you're probably also going to feel some trepidation because there's going to be Arkansas going to score, man. Arkansas is going to score. Notre Dame is going to score. You just hope that Notre Dame scores more.
So this question's a little bit of a trick question because I never felt confident about this game at the beginning of the season.
Are we on an NPR station today? Like, what is with low energy Jesse here? Come on.
He sees the lighting at the end of this week's tunnel. That's what's happening.
I always thought that this game was going to be kind of at a trap game status, and I still think it is a trap game status because I think this game could really define Notre Dame's season. You lose this game, you're 1-3, all playoff hopes are gone, all serious, bowl games are gone, and you got a crappy defense again, and that's kind of a big hurdle to get over. But now, potentially you win, you're still at 2-2, but are you still fixing the problems that are out there that are very well defined at this point in the defense? So I really feel like this game could be a lose-lose no matter what. Notre Dame could still win this game, and you could still feel like they haven't made kind of the progression that you would like them to see 4 games into the season.
Right. If it's another game like Texas A&M 2 weeks ago, but you happen to win, you happen to score one more point, how good are you really going to feel if both teams score 40-plus points, right?
So, they've got the losses out of the way this season, and so if you win, I want to see wins that are going to give me more confidence towards the goals that we had at the beginning of the season. I don't at this point, just winning games to win games is kind of it's like an empty pit for me. I want Notre Dame to only win games if it means that they can actually, win playoff games, get back to a national championship. And so I need to see a defense that can complement how well the offense is playing right now.
Penn State Sports Talk actually makes a good point in the YouTube chat. Arkansas does score a lot of points in the first half, and Notre Dame gives up most of its points in the first half. They've actually made, particularly with Purdue, made adjustments and didn't give up hardly any in the second half. Even against Texas A&M, they did better in the second half than they did in the first half, and ditto with Miami when they gave up 21 points in the first half. So all 3 games, they've made adjustments, but the problem is, how big a hole are you going to potentially put yourself in against this Arkansas team? So like me, if I'm going back to Vince and I'm going scale of 1 to 10, how strongly I feel, this is, I guess it's a 6, because I do feel like Notre Dame's offense is good enough, but Arkansas's offense is really good as well, but the difference, I think, between the two, obviously you have different kind of quarterbacks, but the biggest difference right now is Arkansas is turning the ball over a little bit more. That has, and if Notre Dame can't turn them over, then we could be looking at a photo finish just very similar to Texas A&M a couple of weeks ago. So going to what you guys were, really more what Jesse was talking about, Notre Dame is averaging 40 points a game, but are they a fun team to watch right now? Where are they on the entertainment level for you?
I mean, if we were in the Big 12, they would be the most entertaining team in the entire country, because this is what it feels like. It feels like Big 12 football, a high octane offenses, not a lot of great stellar defense. But I still, to me, it's it's crazy because I love watching the Notre Dame offense. It is a good, they are fun to watch. And then the defense is just instant, stress and anger. It's complete 180 as you're watching the game. While Notre Dame's on offense, you kind of get the hope, you believe, you're like, oh wow, this is fun to watch. And then as soon as the defense goes out there, you're like, well, how are they going to let me down now? how are they going to slice us and dice us on this drive?
100%. They're so much fun to watch when they're on offense, because watching CJ Carr is like watching a ballet. Like he's just making all the right moves, all the right reads, and it's fun to watch, and he gets better every week. And I anticipate that the offense will take yet another step, this week, like they have every single week so far this year. And so the offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And to be honest with you, yes, it puts more pressure on the defense, but the defense doesn't have to make that many stops. You know what I mean? Like, give me
Literally,
a couple.
If you can come up with like 3 stops a game, that might be enough at this point.
That's what I'm like. Look, the first 2 games that they lost, the defense was 1 stop short of them winning the game. And that's probably what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to, can they get a stop in crunch time when it matters, and get the ball back to the offense or protect a lead late in the game, those kinds of things. They still haven't done that. Notre Dame was playing with the lead pretty much the entire time against Purdue. It was 7-7. It was 0-0, then it was 7-0, then it was 7-7, and the rest of the way they played with the lead.
Yeah.
So the defense wasn't playing on their heels, right? And the offense just kept scoring. And so what this defense has not proven to anyone that they can stop anybody when it matters. That's what worries me, because it's going to matter down in SEC country against this offense on the road. Like, it's going to matter.
Early game. Yeah. And I mean, go ahead, Jess.
Vince said something that I think was kind of interesting. The defense really has nothing to lose at this point. Like, you can't play much worse than what they've done in these first 3 games, considering opponents, record, all those things. So it's like, if I'm Marcus Freeman and I'm Chris Ash or the defensive staff, it's just kind of like, give yourself a big inhale, exhale, and just be like, everything in the past is the past. Like, we can't get much worse than what we've kind of done so far, right? And so I would like to see a more kind of just loose, kind of just, flying around, playing football, and not be so caught up in everything needs to be perfect, and we need to be in this perfect coverage and perfect zone.
That doesn't seem to be Chris Ash's attitude. Like,
I know, but that's what I would like to see this weekend, is like, it can't get much more worse. So like, just go out there and play free, play a little fun. Look like you're enjoying yourself as a defense out there.
It's because what's weird is, like, it's not like Al Golden walked in the door and it's like, hey, it's Al, it's like here comes fun time Al, like you wouldn't think that when Al Golden is walking in the door. If you saw him, he looks like a relatively gruff kind of football coach, but obviously the product that he put out there on the field for the last 3 years looks tons different than what Chris Ash is putting out there on the field. And Chris Ash just seems to, just like from listening to his comments, the way he taught, like it's everything is very defensive, honestly, like there's this shield that he's trying to put up, and he's playing from a defensive, reactive kind of perspective. And like, look at the defense, so like, if we talk about, like, if you are a casual viewer of Notre Dame football and you're just like, you have no rooting interest, you're just watching Notre Dame football. I realize it's hard not to have a rooting interest when it comes to Notre Dame, because you're typically either for them or against them. There is no middle ground, but like, it's probably entertaining, because these games, for the most part, with the exception of Purdue, these games are going back and forth. There's all kinds of offense. If you're into offense, the problem that we all know is we know what to compare this defense to. It's like, you're talking about it. Al Golden's defense was number 1 in the nation in pass efficiency. Chris Ash's pass efficiency defense is 103. There's a big disparity between 1 and 103. They have the second worst scoring defense of any Power 4 team in the nation. They've allowed the second most points through the first 3 games of a season in the history of Notre Dame football. The history of Notre Dame football, which dates back, remember, to 1842. That's a long time. And so, like, from that perspective, yeah, if all you're watching is the offense and you're really into offensive shootouts, I guess it can be entertaining. But when we're talking about the team that played for a national championship last year, we know what many of the guys playing in this defense, how they performed last year in the other defense. It takes away a lot of any entertainment value that you're looking for when you're trying to watch Notre Dame football right now.
Because you said it, so I'm just going to repeat it because it's the best thing that you said. We know what this defense could be. It's not like, well, they just don't have the guys, and they're, they just, it is what it is, and the offense is just going to have to cover for them. The frustrating part is we know what this defense has been. We know what this defense should be, and it's not that. And it is so frustrating. So frustrating. There's enough talent on this roster to contend for a national championship. To contend. I'm not saying win. I'm saying contend. That means make the playoff, make a run. There's enough talent on this team. 100%. Notre Dame has the quarterback. They got the offense. What happened to the defense? Like, that used to be everybody, well, they got a great defense. I don't know what's going on with the offense. Like, that was our party line for like the last 15 years, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, do they have enough offense to get through it? Because we know they got the defense, and now they've just completely switched the narrative, and it stinks. Like, they can't figure it out to get it all right at the same time.
Right. When it should have been the easiest time for it.
Yes.
To all come together at the same time.
Yeah.
Joe, I'll say when stats are for losers. Stats are for losers when I decide they're.
It's when it fits his argument.
That's right. It's only when it fits my narrative. Don't forget that.
That's fair.
So are neither of you guys would be willing to buy into, you lost about 5 guys to the NFL. You got some new young bodies playing on the defense. Does that push the needle anywhere for either of you?
Who did they lose that was significant? Give me names.
Watts.
Okay.
Morrison.
But he didn't play last year.
Mills.
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin
Cross.
Morrison barely
Watts played
that.
half the year last year.
Kaiser.
Morrison didn't play at all. And Bowen is playing just as well as Kaiser.
Okay.
It's not an excuse.
Okay. That was just my
I don't know if Bowen's playing as well as Kaiser. I think maybe from a leadership standpoint, Kaiser meant the most, but I also think that Kaiser would be struggling in this system as well because
that's
everyone's
fair.
struggling in this system.
I don't think that there's a huge drop off though from one to the other. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that that's a hole in this defense.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to try to get happy about this maybe at some point. I don't know. Notre Dame, Arkansas coming up tomorrow right here. Sports Radio WSBT, and this is Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com continues along with Vince D'Addario and Jesse Stiers. I'm Sean Stiers, getting you ready for Notre Dame and Arkansas tomorrow. Don't forget, bright and early game day coverage, the game day show, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. They are up early tomorrow.
Shouldn't they be up earlier? I thought it was like a 5-hour show or something.
3.5.
Are they cutting back? Okay.
Yeah, 3.5, and then they go into the network pregame after that.
All right.
So
I feel like they cut something out because I remember getting up super early for like noon games when I used to do that show.
Well, it's because there used to be two shows. There used to be Game Day,
right.
And then there was Game Day Sportsbeat, and it is all merged now. That's
what it is, because then the show that Tim and I did together, which is now this one,
right?
We used to have to be super early. I think it was like 5 hours prior to game time or 6 hours, something like that. So yeah, those noon kickoffs, they were interesting.
They would kick your booty.
Yeah, man.
Is what they would do.
Little kegs and eggs.
Let me ask you about Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback they're going to see tomorrow. Is he the most dangerous quarterback the Irish will face this season, Jesse?
I would say no. Just because he's a dual threat guy, I don't think that makes him the most dangerous. I like what Texas A&M Marcel Reed. I think he's actually probably a more dangerous, better quarterback than Taylon. And I think overall Carson Beck is more of a dangerous quarterback just because of the experience he has and his ability to just throw the ball. Just again, I don't see a dual threat guy as someone who's more dangerous, or they start outweighing. I would say, what Carson Beck and Marcel Reed were able to do within their offense is more dangerous than Taylon Green.
I don't disagree with anything that Jesse said. He might be the best one left on the schedule. I think the kid from NC State is pretty good. They got a pretty good offense rolling as well. The kid from USC can obviously sling the rock all over the place. He tore up what we have discussed many times is a very good Notre Dame defense last year. Tore them up pretty good until the very end of the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's some good quarterbacks left, but the dual threat thing is always scary, because you can have him pinned in and he can just make you pay with his legs, or he can do something on the move. And look, it's going to happen, right? I mean, get used to it. It's going to happen. You just have to limit those explosives from him. That's the biggest thing. If you can limit it and let him get his, so to speak, as the kids like to say, that's fine, as long as it doesn't lead to tons and tons of points. I mean, that's the biggest deal.
I mean, the guy is leading the nation in total offense right now, almost 388 yards a game. And he's going to, basically John Mateer, the Oklahoma quarterback with the hand surgery, he's going to be out for a while. So, I mean, I realize this is an average, but he's, so he's leading Mateer right now. Mateer is in second place, and just the way it works out, like, the dual threat thing has got to be what scares you. And a lot of that is because, like, if you look at the Texas A&M game, Notre Dame showed that, like, while they may have, Marcel Reed only netted something like 37, 38 rushing yards in that game, but he hit that key run on third down late in the game. Like, he really didn't do anything all game long, and when they needed it, he was able to hit something. And it all comes down to the fact that while Notre Dame did a pretty good job of containing him and keeping him in the pocket, they obviously did nothing, to get in his face, to make him have to do anything off platform, really. And he just had all these wide open throws all over the place. And when I watch Taylon Green, I think he's a better runner than Marcel Reed. And I also think that he's a more accurate passer based on what I've seen than Marcel Reed. So he might not be the most dangerous, but he's going to be very, very dangerous because, again, all it takes is one breakdown, and he can burn you with his legs, and he's patient enough that if Notre Dame is just sitting there in that zone trying to keep him contained specifically, he has shown against some of these teams like Ole Miss, that he is accurate enough to put the ball on the money and just pick you apart and move the ball downfield like that. Notre Dame obviously has shown that they can't contend with that so far. So that's a major issue. The biggest thing is just disrupting him, making him uncomfortable, because the one thing that he has shown that we talked about earlier, he will turn the ball over. If you pressure him and make him make a mistake or two, he'll turn the ball over, and that could be the difference in a game like this.
I would not be upset to see the defense get a couple of turnovers in this game, especially early on, because I do think the offense is going to score. I don't think Arkansas's defense is very good. And so let's get a few turnovers early and kind of extend that lead, get that gap a little bit, and so that the defense can play a little bit more loose and a little bit more like we know that they can play, because they're not going to be playing on their heels. You know what I mean? And so 2 turnovers in the first half is a really, really good sign. That's what
absolutely. You get 2 in the first half, I think you'd be feeling really good, obviously, as long as you're not turning the ball over yourself. So, Vince, what's the most important thing you need to see from Notre Dame in this matchup?
Defensive competence. And that I'm not even asking them to be what they were last year. I'm not. You know what I mean? What I don't want is just a look of absolute and utter confusion when the offense goes into motion or they shift or whatever. I want to see a defense that is lined up properly, isn't freaking out when guys move around. They know how to get lined up and they just execute. That's it. I'm not asking for a shutout. I'm not asking for anything like that. Just defensive competence. That's it. If they have defensive competence, they win this game. No problem. Because I have a lot of well, that's another question, but I want defensive competence. That's what I'm
okay. Defensive competence.
Yes.
Jess.
Am I next?
You are next.
He is.
That guy?
Yeah, that guy over there.
I don't even want defensive competence. I just want defensive swagger. I just want a defense that's out there playing with confidence, flying around. And yesterday, I think I got into this a little bit as well. Just be confident and just play with violence. Just look like you're out there. Like if you don't know what you're doing or you're maybe not in the right spot, everyone rally to the ball. Everyone play with violence. I want to see a lot of gang tackles. I want to see some headhunting type tackles. Like that's
missed
what I'm
out.
looking for.
You left before rapid fire yesterday. I had a question. I don't know if you saw it. Gabe Rubio. Did you see the question that I had on the rapid fire list? I don't even know if I sent it to you yesterday. Gabe Rubio was talking about, like getting the defensive line right and, all those different kind of things. And he said at the end of the day, when all else fails, it just comes down to violence. Just be violent, like as defensive linemen, especially. And I think that that's what it comes down to for the defense is we need to see some of that. And I think that that's what I said last week. We need to see some swagger out of these guys because everything that we've seen is just so much hesitation. And it's like no one knows exactly where we're supposed to be. There's so much indecisiveness. Just play fast and physical. That's the biggest thing. Because and I think that comes right back what Jesse said, basically to what you're saying. The two things that you're talking about go together. Like if they play the way that Jesse is talking about, Vince, that gives you a competent defense, I think.
Yep. Well, and look, when I'm coaching a defense or if I'm a head coach and I have a defensive coordinator and look, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss a tackle. You're going to, okay, cool. Like, I don't care because if you play fast and you play with violence and, every single play is like that, you're going to make more plays than you don't.
Good things are going to happen.
100%. You got to go at 100 miles an hour at all times. Yes, you have to break down and you've got to do all of those different things. Yeah, 100%. But you've got to play fast. You've got to play with violence. These guys have the talent to do that. It's not a bunch of stiffs out there on defense. They know that they've got that in them. We've seen them do it. So, yeah, and that has nothing to do with scheme. That has nothing to do with play calling. Just play fast, play with violence, play with enthusiasm.
Do you think we see, defensively specifically, do you think we see a team that looks more like what we saw in the second half against Purdue last week or more like we've seen what would that be, the 2.5 games prior to the second half?
I have to go with the second half of Purdue because, again, like I feel like in that moment is when officially Marcus Freeman's fingers started to get back into this thing. He started to get his grip on the defense and just kind of said, guys, we're really overthinking this at the end of the day. Let's bring some pressures. Let's play some good, solid coverage on the backside. And so I don't see it trending away from that once Marcus Freeman kind of, again, has put his grip back onto things.
That's what you think has happened. I don't know that has actually happened.
But it was like proven. It like, why would we start deviating from
It
stuff
felt
that
like-
started to work?
Because they had a
against
lead.
Purdue?
They had a big lead. That's why.
Yeah, but they had a big lead before that. Like they only added one more touchdown on top of that.
I've got 5 quarters of one defense, and I've got, 5 halves of one defense, and I've got 1 half of another. I'm going with the 5. I think that's the defense that Notre Dame has right now. And so until I look, what Jesse said is what I hope happens.
Right.
What I'm saying is what I think is going to happen.
What is going to happen.
Yeah. And I hate to be that guy, but that's how. Prove me wrong. Please, for the love of all that is holy, prove me wrong. But you got to show it to me.
It felt like listening to Marcus Freeman, like his TV interview that he did with NBC, and then sitting there listening to him in the post game. It felt like Marcus Freeman knew, like he knew what.
That's what I mean.
He knew what had to be done. Like you guys have both seen Band of Brothers,
And then he had the closed door meeting.
Have you seen Band of Brothers, Jesse?
I lived in your house for like 18 years.
It to me, do you remember when they're in the forest, they're in the Ardennes, they're sitting, that they've been fighting at the Battle of the Bulge, they're getting ready to attack the town of Foy, like the little town, and there's the big field, and there's like the like the straw huts and stuff out there, and Lieutenant Dyke has to lead the charge in, and Dyke gets halfway in, and everything falls apart, and Dick Winters wants to go in there and save everybody himself, but instead he's like, Spears, get yourself on in there, and then Spears leads the charge. It's like Freeman was Captain Winters, and he knew what needed to be done, but he was hesitant. He kind of waited, but then in that moment, he finally made the move, and it made all the difference. And it's like, is that what we're going to continue to see? I lean more toward Vince, just because, like, listening to everything that he said this week, it doesn't feel.
Yeah, but this is all on him at this point. Everything comes back to Marcus Freeman.
I wasn't on him the first 3 games.
No, I understand that, but you didn't have losses yet. Like, they are actually 1-2 at this point. Like this is the tipping point in the season where it goes from, okay, like, people are upset to people are going to be really pissed off if they're out of playoff contention 4 games into the season.
Depends on who you talk to. They're 1-2. Like, this should have taken, like, to Sean's point, he was hesitant. I can't stand hesitancy. That really, really bothers me. When you're in a position of leadership like that, you cannot be hesitant, because his hesitancy at least cost him the Texas A&M game. At least. That's the problem. Yeah,
exactly. And could have cost him the Purdue game, the way things were. Now, I mean, Grant, again, they had a fairly comfortable lead game, and like, it just, I don't know. I'm mostly upset you didn't appear to like my Band of Brothers.
I said I agreed with you.
I loved it.
All right, we've got a little bit more. I'm even going to we're going to talk more Notre Dame, Arkansas. I'm also going to give Vince a chance to throw some shade at USC. So that is coming up when we wrap up hour number 1 of Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat. Don't forget, of course, we still have Rapid Fire in hour number 2 as well. That's all still on the way. We continue with Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com on this Friday as we get ready for a weekend of football. We've got Notre Dame and Arkansas kicking off tomorrow at noon here on Sports Radio WSBT and the Game Day Show at 8 a.m. You can watch it on the Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel. You can also listen to it live online in the Sports Radio WSBT app. Sean Stiers, Jesse Stiers, Vince D'Addario, all here. Chris Ash is an empty uniform, my friends. He is he's there physically, but he can cost you. I think we've seen that already. And that's I think our biggest concern going into this game is Chris Ash's defense. This defense that he insists on playing, is that going to cost Notre Dame in this game? Al Golden's defense saw one quarterback throw for over 300 yards in 3 seasons. Chris Ash has already seen 2 quarterbacks in 3 games top 300 yards. And it's just Arkansas is in the top 10 in yards per game, as well as yards per play. It's a scary offense. The question is, their defense not nearly as good. I think that our greatest concern is that, or not our greatest concern, our greatest confidence is that Notre Dame is going to score a lot of points again tomorrow, right?
100%.
I just don't think that that's fair at the end of the day, because I think I've been on every day this week, so I forget what I said what day, but one of these days the defense or the offense is going to go out there and have a dud of a day, and the defense is going to have to pick up the slack. And I am fearful for that day. To see, when the offense is just having an off day and they just can't seem to get the ball rolling and the defense has to bail them out. It's just a scary thought right now. And so I was thinking about this question during the break. What would you guys rather see? Taylon Green throw for 300 yards or rush for 100 yards? Because he's going to get his carries in. He averages like 10 carries a game. I was doing the math over the break. Like he's going to get his carries in.
What's his passing day look like, though, if he's getting 100? Like, if they're limiting the explosive passing plays and he's just having, like 150 or so passing yards and 100 rushing yards, I think I could probably live with 100 rushing yards if that means you're shutting down the pass plays.
And that's kind of how I look at it too. I think if you're forcing him to run, that means you're doing a lot in coverage, because you can't tell me that Arkansas, when they put on the film, their game plan is to run the ball. Like their game plan has to be, okay, that all these teams are throwing for 300 yards. Let's get our 300 yards in. So to me, if you take away the passing game, that likely means they got to get creative elsewhere, and he might have some rushing yards.
I'm with you guys as far as the option there. I was frantically looking up Notre Dame's rush defense. They're 40th in the country,
respectable.
Like 109 yards a game.
And that's the thing. We talked about this the other day. For all the talk about Notre Dame's defensive line, I mean, most of the issues they have are just as pass rushers.
They just can't get pressure.
Teams are only averaging 3.4 yards per carry against Notre Dame's defense right now.
You'll take that in college football.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
100%.
Very respectable.
And the defense is giving up almost 300 yards in the air. They're 132nd in the country. So
there you go.
If I'm an offensive coordinator, what am I attacking? I
know. And that's why, 100%. I was saying it. I was saying it when Purdue kept running the football in the first half with Maccabee last week. I'm like, all you're doing is basically saying, well, we're not just going to not run the ball by running these plays, because they weren't really doing anything. It was almost like they were just trying to keep Notre Dame honest to an extent. But anytime you want, you can obviously pass on those guys.
Maccabee was a non-factor in that game. The only thing he did was throw a touchdown pass. But other than that, he was a non-factor. And I just don't think that they are going to put a whole lot of emphasis on running the football. They're going to try to air it out, and that's what Notre Dame needs to focus on stopping. They need to focus on stopping the air it out, the big plays, and all of those different things, because Arkansas is going to throw the kitchen sink at you when it comes to routes and all of those things.
So are we expecting some sort of trick plays? I don't know about you guys, but I hate trick plays. Like when your defense is looking bad, I hate seeing a trick play. Like when Purdue ran that like throwback play to their quarterback in the goal line. And then when Caleb Williams completed that flea flicker against the Cowboys, I was like, to me, it's like rubbing salt in the wound, you know? Like I feel like trick plays really work well against bad defenses.
I mean, if I'm Arkansas, I think
I'm definitely having trick plays in the arsenal.
Yeah.
Look, everybody lauds Notre Dame for their special teams trick plays that they do. I mean, what's the difference? Kind of the pot calling the kettle black here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no problem with trick plays because you need to put points on the board, and this is going to be a shootout, and you need to get points. My issue is that's not a sustainable offense, obviously, is trying to do the trickeration and stuff like that. So that's going to work once, maybe twice if you're lucky. But the bigger issue is you have to be consistent on offense, obviously. So that's the only thing that annoys me about trick plays is like, okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got on the next drive, So
yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, but if they go to the well too many times, it's going to hurt them.
Cause like I was thinking of like what Arkansas might do. Like there's really no reason for Arkansas to onside kick in a game, like, just like surprise onside kick, like in the first half or something, like just because like you've got to feel confident that you're going to score points. But yeah, I would not be shocked if we see flea flickers and, reverses and whatever,
because Notre Dame's not sound. They're not sound defensively.
Exactly.
I'd be trying to move their eyes and doing all the different things. I would. And I don't even know if I would call a reverse. That's not really a trick play. It's just moving the defense in a way that they don't want to go. And I would definitely do it.
Vince, I wanted to give you a chance to throw a little shade at someone since it's your first day back in the last week. Fill in the blank. It's blank that USC head coach Lincoln Riley was complaining about going from playing at 11 p.m. Eastern time at home last week to playing at 11 a.m. Central time tomorrow in Illinois in back-to-back games.
Yeah, when you're complaining, first of all, it's ridiculous. That's the fill in the blank. It's ridiculous. But when you're complaining about start times, you don't get to use the different time zones to make it sound better. You got to stick with one time zone so that all the things are the same. You got to start your game at 8:00 local time last week. There's nothing wrong with that. Teams start at 7:30 or 8:00 all the time, right? Yes, this is an early start time. Got it. But you signed up for it, buddy.
That's what I mean.
This is on you.
Yep. You made this decision when you joined the Big Ten.
Let me know the last time you were a member of the Pac-12 and you had an 11 a.m. Central Time start time. You didn't. Ever, I'm guessing. So,
and USC was the home team because we talked about this a couple of days ago with the start teams.
Right.
All the like these Eastern time zone team, like that's who pays the price.
Correct.
Boston College went to Stanford a couple of weeks ago. They got home at 9 a.m. the next day after kicking off at 10:30.
It's ridiculous.
At Stanford. So Michigan State probably got home at around the same time, sometime between 7 and 9 a.m. is when Michigan State probably got home. Now I looked it up. Michigan State is actually off this week, but USC will also be off next week after having this little back-to-back that Lincoln Riley is complaining about. So
just stop talking. Like, talk about your team and how they're actually playing the game of football. That's all anybody wants to hear from you. Nobody wants to hear about scheduling because you, as a West Coast team, decided to be in a conference that is based in the Midwest. This is on you, dog. Like, you and your administration. Like, come on, stop it.
There's teams that played in Ireland that are complaining less than this guy.
Correct. True. Bingo. Great.
The Vikings are spending 10 days. They're playing in Ireland this weekend. They're playing in London next weekend. They're staying. Wow. They're the first NFL team to ever stay over there in Europe for back-to-back games.
That's pretty awesome. That's a vacation.
Hell, heck yeah, it is. I like it.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I'd love to be a fan to sign up for they have to be selling like packages, experiences.
100%.
That'd be pretty cool if you were.
If the Cowboys were good, I'd empty my bank on that. But
You got something else you're emptying your bank on next weekend, buddy.
the bank is already empty.
That's the only thing you need to worry about right now. Not going on excursions.
Unfortunately, Jerry will probably never give up, like
A home
games to do something like that. But if you ever did, I was going to say
true.
you could just take me with you if that ever happened. So,
I'll be expecting Vince's card in the mail to pay for all my expenses this week.
there you go.
100%.
Might be waiting on that for a while though.
The mailman takes a long time these days. I'm just saying. The mail is very slow.
All right, Vince, great to have you back, my friend. Enjoy your weekend, and gonna go see a little football tonight and tomorrow. Then
Homecoming at Penn High School tonight and homecoming at Hillsdale College tomorrow. So
all right,
got a busy next 24, 48 hours.
Is your body ready for it?
We'll go find out.
You got any extra,
do they have
got any extras
recliners?
just in case?
Yeah.
Optional out there.
I'm going to bring some ice packs and all kinds of other stuff. But I told him I wasn't going to miss homecoming, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. Sounds good. We will see you later. Jesse is hanging around. Bobby's coming in next. It's Rapid Fire in hour number 2. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.
Bye, Vince.
Hour number 2, and that means rapid fire, and I'm joined by Jesse Stiers as well as Bobby Hensley for the second hour of the show. If I put Bobby up there in the YouTube
That's up to you.
video. I mean, I do it at my own risk. I think we all know it at this point.
Bobby's finally not wearing conflicting gear for once.
I mean, I finally put Notre Dame on even.
He's even got a Notre Dame shirt on.
I'm telling you,
Fancy.
I read the chat. I see you. And Jesse's here. I haven't seen Jesse in a couple weeks.
I know. It's like a homecoming on all different kinds of accounts. All right.
Since the Texas A&M game.
That didn't go so hot.
I told you what was going to happen beforehand. You texted me, both of us. And I said, Notre Dame being a touchdown favorite never bodes well in this situation.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm not going to touch that after the game. Like, you were right. I just was like, all right, yeah, that did not go well at all.
No, it didn't. I forgot about that.
It didn't go so good. But they've won since then, so that's good. We're on the up now.
Well, certain aspects of the team.
Yeah.
Let's get to some topics. So on 3 has Arkansas head coach Sam Pittman on the hot seat heading into tomorrow's game. Jesse, is that good or bad for the Fighting Irish?
I think that's bad at the end of the day. That's just more motivation. That's more kind of, him trying to rally the locker room because, players hear that stuff. It's not like it just goes around, baseless around, the team and campus and all that stuff. Like, it's definitely been heard by the team. On top of you're playing a ranked Notre Dame team that obviously, still everything that comes with Notre Dame and they still have expectations as well. So, I just think this will make Arkansas even more fired up at the end of the day. And I don't think that it bodes well for.
I hit the mute button.
Yeah, somehow you muted yourself in the middle of your sentence. I don't know what you.
No, we got 90% of it, I think.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No, I think it's good. There's a reason why a coach is on a hot seat. It's because they haven't been winning. If he could motivate that locker room or get those players to play harder for him, then he would have done it before now when you're on the hot seat. I'm getting Syracuse vibes from what year was that? 2011? With Greg Robinson, where they came in Notre Dame Stadium when they already announced they were firing him and he won.
Oh, right.
But I think it's a good thing. It means Arkansas is on the ropes, and you're saying they're going to come out punching with their last chance. But if he could motivate that team or make them a good unit, he already would have done it before now.
Well,
I think that the pregame speeches and stuff, the first time you get into contact on the field, go out the window anyway. And now they're going to just play like they were going to play anyway. So maybe that rallying cry works for a couple plays to start the game, but that's about it. I think it's a good thing for Notre Dame because it's indicating Arkansas is on their way down. Should be a winnable game.
What's crazy about Sam Pittman is it seems like he's been on the hot seat for at least 3 years at this point. And he must have 9 lives because he just keeps doing just enough and then he keeps the job. And it's like, so when that happens, does that mean the players are playing for him? Because they've lost the last couple of games and they've lost high scoring games to both Ole Miss and Memphis. And to an extent you can say, okay, Ole Miss is at least permissible because they've been decent, the last few years with Lane Kiffin, but Memphis, like that's another story. And you lose those games. There are a lot of Arkansas fans I've seen who would just like him to get blown out in this game and be seen shown the door right away.
So who has more at stake this game, Arkansas or Notre Dame?
I still think that's interesting when you look at the balance of a coach's career potentially. I still think it's Notre Dame though, because they feel like they've got a chance to be a playoff team. And I think that kind of sits at the top of everything. Maybe there was too much of that coming into the season.
Yeah, but when you fire a coach, that's like a reset. That's like we're kind of starting over as an SEC school.
Jesse, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's SEC, so what are your expectations anyway? I don't think Arkansas was going to, and like Sean said, they're not going to be a playoff team. So what are their expectations coming into the season? Probably to win a couple more games early before you get to the conference games. But at this point, I don't know. I always think it's really easy to say, fire this guy, bench this. Who do you have waiting to come in?
What's
you
the
see,
fix?
UCLA fired their coach. Virginia Tech fired their coach.
Oklahoma State
fired Gundy, who has been there forever. So who do you have that's coming in, unless it's so much outside pressure from boosters and stuff to
Well, you're
fire
obviously not
somebody?
going to bring somebody in mid-season, but if you do it this early, you can tell your recruits, look, we're going in a different direction. Like, you can start setting up transfer portal stuff, and you can start looking around. Like, it lets the administration sit back and say, okay, who are the hot candidates? Like, would a guy like Mike Gundy be desirable at a place like Arkansas? I mean, they are, really close, in terms of proximity and stuff like that. But like, at the end of the day, okay, he outwore his welcome in Stillwater, but could he go to a place?
Time.
Yeah, after a long time, 2 decades. Like, nobody obviously lasts that long anymore. Could he go to a place like Arkansas? Curt Cignetti, I think, if Indiana keeps doing what they're doing, if they're at least 10-2 and they're a playoff contender again in his second season, I mean, 20 wins in 2 years, if he's able to pull that off, if they win 10 again, Curt Cignetti is going to be a hot candidate everywhere. And then, at that point, for a guy like him, his ego, I'm sure he thinks that the SEC is a great place for him if he had that kind of opportunity. So, I mean, they're going to be, there are candidates who'll emerge out of this whole thing.
It's kind of the same thing as a recruit. Would you rather be on a top level starter at ACC or mid-level SEC? I think everybody's gotten in love or romanticized with what the SEC, the name of it. I'm going to be a coach at the SEC. Yeah, if you're a coach at Arkansas, where in the conference are your expectations? That's all about what I'm expectations. And you guys can answer that. I think that if your expectations are to be 11-1 and play for the conference championship game and go to the playoff as Arkansas or Vanderbilt or teams like that, that's not going to happen.
You're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And then now you're going to be the coach that gets fired. And same thing, you got to strike where the iron's hot. So the IU coach, if he leaves where would he go that would be a bigger program? You think Arkansas? That's a lateral move or down?
That's a
Gundy?
question. Like, is it enough for him to go to the SEC, for example?
He'll go to Bama. They said in the chat.
All I got to know, or all I got to say is, watching what Oklahoma State did with Gundy just showed me that anyone can be fired at any time, no matter what your job is, no matter if it's football, baseball. Like, that guy had been there for 20 years, and it's his alma mater, and they showed him the door on a Tuesday, week 3 into the season, week 4 into the season. Like, I just thought that was crazy. Like, you couldn't just stick it out for, like, I heard things were bad last year, so why didn't you just cut him off last year? I felt like once you made the decision, you should have just let him ride out the rest of the season.
And I think the administration really wanted to, but I just read some stuff today about that. There was like a plane load of big donors who went up to Oregon and watched that shellacking up there, watched the Ducks put it on the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. And then when you come home and you lose to an in-state group of 6 team like Tulsa, who you hadn't lost at home to since 1951, that was just the final straw for a lot of people. And I agree with what you're saying. They really should have just made this move at the end of last year and moved on. But this goes back, like some other coaches. Gundy has not adapted, and their program has not adapted to NIL and the transfer portal. Very similar to Dabo. Clemson is a little bit more open, at least in terms of NIL and stuff like that. But the stuff that I read, they're like, there's arguments going on between Gundy. Like, he's one of these guys who had no desire to pay players. Very Nick Saban-esque, I guess you would say. Well, like, he doesn't think that they should be paying players and wants no part of it. And obviously that shows in the kind of roster that they.
That's a good way to lose a job.
Well, yeah. I think Gundy, when he came in, he was kind of like Mike Leach. He had run and shoot offense. He was putting up 50 points a game in the Big 12 that didn't have defense. And now it got to a point where he had to keep evolving or change his scheme because it wasn't working anymore. And I think that I hear what you're saying about just do it last year. I think that was their grace period, was giving him the first 3 weeks this year to see if there's any sign of life. And he flatlined, so there's no reason to keep him anymore there.
Yep. Yeah, Josh says Arkansas would do well in the Big 12 or ACC. I think that there's a lot of middle-tier teams in the SEC that would, but they're also not going to leave the SEC because of the big checks that they're getting for TV.
Money.
So, yep. Okay, so there's nobody who thinks Marcus Freeman's on the hot seat right now, but is there anything that could push Freeman to the hot seat by the end of this season?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking about a guy who just came off a national championship. We saw Brian Kelly go 4-8, and that's ultimately kind of what put him on the hot seat. But that was kind of, there were other things leading up to that moment type situation. I don't think there's a lot of distaste in people's mouths with Marcus Freeman right now. I think
no, not at all.
No.
If Brian Kelly can survive a 4-8 season, and I don't think Notre Dame's going to go 4-8 this season, I really don't see anything that puts him on the hot seat, unless, again, I wouldn't even say it would put him on the hot seat. It would kind of just make him look bad, I guess you would say, is how long he would let this Ash thing play out if you don't see any improvement. At what point does he stop the bleeding and let Chris Ash go or demote, or I don't even know if we would see those things. But again, that's the only thing. Like it would have to be such an embarrassment that the defense is just week in, week out, almost losing you every game, and you're not doing anything about it.
So you don't I guess I feel like you're saying fire almost. You're saying at the end of the year, if all this goes wrong, he wouldn't be on the hot seat.
No, I don't think there's anything that could put Marcus Freeman on the hot seat this season.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, because I feel like if the season continues trajecting down, that there is I'm not saying fired. I'm saying the hot seat.
You get to the hot seat. Right.
Yes. So I think
you end this season going toward next season. Now your seat is at least warm.
Like Josh Phillips said, finish 500. I mean, the expectations are so high in that 4-8 season with Brian Kelly. Yeah. You're right. There were high expectations. He went 4-8, and then at the end of it, he was on the hot seat. So I think that, and you said there's other stuff in play, and I understand that, but I still think if you go 500 or lose a couple games, and like Chris Ash and your defense is just spiraling out of control, and then you start to lose players, that's what I think could put him on the hot seat, because you're not going to have Jeremiah Love. You're going to have transfers. And if they're going to lose games and be at the bottom at the end of this season, and it's like, wow, because at least back then there wasn't the transfer portal, which can help or hurt you, but I think it'll hurt him, because he might lose some players depending on what scheme he brings in, what he brings in to replace Chris Ash with, which I think we're all agreeing without saying it that he won't be here probably next year. So I think that there's a 50-50 chance he's not fired, but on a hot seat, that next year becomes very important. And then the other question for either of you would be,
do I get to answer the first question first?
How much equity does he get because he did go to that championship game?
I think it buys you a ton of equity, because Brian Kelly did have a big drop off in 2013, and none of us thought that 2025 was going to be like 2013 was after a national championship game season for Notre Dame. None of us did. So I think that, how Marcus Freeman handles what's going on right now with this defense is going to, that is going to be the answer to this question by the time the season is over with. Because I think even an 8-4 season is not going to be good enough when you consider the roster that they had, the offense that they have, if it keeps on playing like this. But then probably the most important thing is what you touched on there, Bobby, is what ends up how do the players on the roster respond to all this? Because in the past, the kind of guys that Notre Dame has lost to the transfer portal at the end of the season have mostly been depth guys. They haven't been starter type guys. Or is your bond still strong with them? Are you holding on to them? How much effect does whatever happens over the balance of the rest of this season, how much effect does it have on that? But I tend to agree that if you would end up near 500 and you, as a result, start losing a bunch of guys to the portal again, none of us are saying that Marcus Freeman would be shown the door But I
No.
think you're hot. I think your seat gets very hot. And what you said, Bobby, the fact that you were in the national championship game last year, that obviously buys you a huge amount of equity. But you do still have to go back to the fact that you lost to Northern Illinois early.
He's had a lot
season.
of bad losses. They lost to
Yeah.
Marshall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just saying, again, not saying fired, shown the door, but to your point, Sean, how is he going to handle this at the end? Or does he wait till the end of the season? Because if they give up, 30 points the next couple of weeks, I think your defense needs a revamp immediately, or else you're going to lose those players. And who's going to stick around if you bring back Chris Ash and it's like, wow, we're getting shredded every game against lesser talented opponents. So I think we're at a pivotal time for Marcus Freeman. I don't think he's going to get fired, but I think it's very important that he needs to get the nose up. And he has before, losing to Marshall, losing to Northern Illinois. That's been his greatest successes, are like getting the team better throughout the year.
Right.
So it's interesting, but I'm saying right now, I'm not saying it's panic mode because they are 2 good losses. Those teams are ranked high. I don't think that's.
But even in your win, your defense has not looked
30 points to Purdue, which
at all.
I know they're better this year, but the next couple of weeks will be pivotal.
Yeah, exactly.
70-3 in the chat. That would help.
All right. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, more rapid fire Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We continue with Rapid Fire on Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. Sean Stiers, Jesse Stiers, Bobby Hensley in tonight. Fill in the blank. It's blank that USC tried unsuccessfully to sell the TV rights to its home game with Notre Dame to Netflix. They wanted to move the game to either Mexico City or Las Vegas to get around their TV rights deal with the Big Ten, but the Big Ten rejected it.
It's just comical at this point because it seems like everything that Notre Dame or that USC is doing with Notre Dame is like a slap in the face to Notre Dame. Like, we can't agree on a schedule going forward. And, there's always the complaining about traveling here or there, or when games got to be played. And now we're trying to change location. And, also this week, Lincoln Riley's complaining about having to play at 8 p.m. or 11 p.m., Central, and now going back to Illinois to play 11 a.m. Central. It's just like, can they just be happy with what they've got at any point? Why is it always we got to change this or we got to complain about this or bicker about that? And to me, it's just comical. And the reason why it's comical is that I think it's a top-down mentality. Lincoln Riley's soft, and I think USC has been playing soft, and that's why they haven't been able to accomplish anything in a long time.
A long time. It's comical is your word, right? I said it was, in my mind, I was going to say it was funny because why is USC being so petty? It's almost like their little brother now. They've fallen out of favor with the Big Ten already. You were the ones that signed up for all of this.
Yep.
So Jesse, you said they're playing at 11 p.m. and then 11 a.m. the next week. There's still 7 days in a week, right?
Right. That's what I mean. And that was going to be when this got brought up in the first segment. It's like, it's not like you're playing back to back. You have a whole week to rest and recover and get ready and transition into this next game.
And then some of the other teams, if you're going out and you're playing a 3:00 game at USC, that's 11 a.m. Central or Eastern time that they're playing. So I don't, in the Big Ten, that you signed up for, that you wanted to be a part of, that you wanted the money with.
That you needed the money from.
See, and that's the thing. Like, how can you think as USC? Because obviously this is, trying to go, Netflix wants to continue to get these big splashy games. But the fact that it was supposed to be at USC, that gives them obviously Netflix couldn't get the Notre Dame game because it's on NBC because of the Notre Dame contract. So you go the other direction. But how does USC think, like, when they make this move, the biggest reason they did it is because they were going to get this big TV check by being in the Big Ten, all this TV revenue. Well, okay, you're a Big Ten team now. You're not an independent. If you want to try to make these deals like this with a Netflix or whoever else,
right,
get out of the Big Ten and become an independent, and you can do this kind of stuff on your own. But, like when Notre Dame played in Ireland or when they play the Shamrock Series games, like those games stay on NBC if they were scheduled to be a Notre Dame home game. So, like, if it's supposed to be a USC home game, then that means you're part of the Big Ten contract. Just because you move it to Las Vegas or Mexico City, and that apparently was why in some of these, reports that we heard earlier this summer and last spring about how USC wanted to play games off campus and, at neutral sites and stuff like that. This was probably, it sounds like, the driving force behind it because they thought that they had a chance to get this big paycheck from Netflix. But again, if you're in the Big Ten, you're in the Big Ten and you got to live with it. I don't want to hear about, all these complaints that you have about your travel and everything else. You signed up for it. Now you got to live with it.
Yeah, I guess to me, it's just a legal matter even. Like, why even sign the contract that you're a part of and know that how the money is going to be distributed if you know that you're going to try and pull out to have one game? And boy, isn't it funny that it's Notre Dame, the game that they want to play and get the money from? Like, they could take a non-conference game against Fresno State and move it maybe or something like that, but they're not going to. It's the big one that they think they can make money because they only get a couple games out of conference anymore that they locked into. This baffles my mind. I don't understand. Like Jesse said, it's comical. I don't understand why we're even talking about it because they signed up for all of this. What did you expect to happen? You're not just going to play Washington, Oregon, and the Big Ten and then be done. You have to play all these other teams at all these other times. I think that it's funny to me that when they were a couple of weeks in and they were 3-0 and Notre Dame was 1-2 or 0-2 and 2-0, whatever it was, and that Notre Dame was still ranked higher than USC. I think they're just grasping for straws to try and get relevant again. relevant in the sense of, hey, look at us, we're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because nobody really cares about you out there in the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one that I saw on the Champions Lounge. Over under 3.5 times Jeremiah Love is compared to former Arkansas running back Darren McFadden in Saturday's broadcast on ESPN.
I'm going to go under, and I actually am going to go so hard under. I don't think it's going to come up one time, to be honest.
I don't think it will either.
I think that's a very
very specific reference.
Yes.
It's been a while since Darren McFadden has been around.
Yes. And honestly, and we kind of talked about this, I feel like at the end of last season, like Jeremiah Love's style of play is just kind of, it's a combination of a lot of guys. But you do see some Darren McFadden in there. And I think that name was actually brought up when you start talking about kind of his speed, but also the sneaky kind of power, athleticism that comes with it. So, while it's a good comparison, I actually don't think it's going to come up one time.
See, I guess I don't understand. I get it, but I think that they will bring it up. Maybe that's why it's a bet, that we're talking about. So I'll say at least one.
It's a fun bet. It's not an actual
It'll
bet,
be in the pregame during the warm-up. So say like, here's Jeremiah Love, a guy that the problem for me why they wouldn't bring it up is if it was an Arkansas running back that was Jeremiah Love, I would see it. But in Notre Dame to cross over the team, I don't
think so either.
I think they have enough stuff to talk about with Notre Dame, Arkansas, and all the game going on that I don't think that name will come up. And once the game starts, I know it won't come up because every run will just be the run.
Angel in the YouTube chat, I believe he's an Arkansas guy. He or she, apologize. They are an Arkansas fan, says Darren was a power back with speed. And I agree. Like, I feel like McFadden was definitely a fast guy. Jeremiah Love is a fast guy, but that's where the comparisons between the two end to me. Like, Love has some power, but he's got a little bit more wiggle in the hips than I think Darren McFadden had, so like you can look at him and, you can see the speed comparison and those kind of things, but yeah, like
he's also been out of Arkansas for a while. It's not
exactly.
If it was
a
last
while
year,
ago,
he won the Heisman, then I'd see it, but
it's been like what, maybe 15 years or
that's
something
what I was gonna say.
Like that. Yeah.
And then he went to the Cowboys.
Yep. So that was actually at the end of his career. Started with the Raiders. Felix Jones was the Cowboy first, but which Arkansas connection will be referenced more in the broadcast? Lou Holtz, Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones.
I feel like it's got to be Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz is going to be in attendance. Is also my understanding. So I just feel like this is an easy get our layups in. We could talk Lou Holtz, but I think they start with Lou Holtz, but I think that Jimmy Johnson might stem off of that at some point because they played each other during their times at Notre Dame and Miami. I don't think Jerry Jones will come up. I think if the pecking order it'd go Lou Holtz, Jimmy Johnson, and then Jerry Jones. I think for certain Lou Holtz gets brought up at least 2 times. I would take the over under at 3.5 that we just talked about in the last question, and I'd set it for this one, and I think I'd take the over. I think they're going to
over on Lou Holtz.
I think they're going to really, really play on this Lou Holtz.
I was gonna say, so you're saying, and I guess you just answered that, but Lou Holtz more than McFadden, just straight up money line.
Yes,
more Lou than McFadden. I agree. How can you not? Who doesn't want to talk about Lou Holtz in college football? That's part of these games. Notre Dame, whether you like them or not, and Angel, if you're a Arkansas person, I think you have to understand this game is big because Notre Dame's coming to town. You play enough tough games, but Notre Dame still is that national brand. So, of course, Lou Holtz is going to come
Notre
up.
Dame's never played at Arkansas either.
Right.
They've never played, period. So, yeah.
So how many times will they bring that up on the broadcast that this is the first time that they played Notre Dame? Is that going to be more than Darren McFadden references?
I think so.
I believe that will be.
Angel says Jimmy is in town for the game, apparently, which is interesting considering he was at the Miami game. So
he's just trolling Notre Dame all year long.
Could be a I would like to see Jimmy and Lou sitting next to each other, chumming it up. They were actually on I believe they were assistants together at Arkansas at one point, like when Holtz ended up getting the job. I think that they were both up for the Arkansas job back in the day before Lou ended up, obviously getting it. And then I think after that is when Jimmy went to Oklahoma State. So like I would I would like to see Lou and Jimmy hanging out. If they are both at the game, I think we're going to get a lot of references. Whatever Notre Dame does well, we're probably going to see Lou. Whenever Arkansas does well, we're going to see Jimmy out
You
there.
know what's
So
interesting is
I would go over on both.
I didn't know that they both had crossroads at Arkansas. You know, that's probably bad on me for not having that knowledge, but I didn't realize Lou Holtz and Jimmy Johnson both went through Arkansas, and it sounds like at the same time.
Yeah. Both, again, like Jimmy was a younger assistant, not by a whole lot, obviously, but he was at least a little bit younger than the Holtz, and he basically. I mean, I don't know what their relationship was before that happened, but Jimmy wasn't happy when Lou got the Arkansas job. Let's put it that way. So
I was going to ask, what tree do they come from, Sean? Because like me and Jesse, this is before our time by quite a bit, but they're both very passionate. They're both, inspirational speakers, motivational. Like, so I guess maybe they learned it from the same place. I didn't know who their tree that they branched off of was, but I think they'll both be showing up quite a bit.
I can't remember. Like that even predates
you.
me. So yeah, that's a little bit farther back.
Well, I think they'll both be on, but like Jesse says, I think it'll be definitely Lou. They're going to show Jimmy quite a bit then too, and I bet they're both over that number that the 2.5 that you said.
Jesse, Lou in the YouTube chat wants to know if Notre Dame can contain Talon Green. Yay or nay?
I think they can contain his rushing attack. I don't know if they can contain his passing attack. I don't know if that's what that question is largely, centered around.
He's going to get his yards, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to get his what you define as contain. To me, winning a ball game is containing him at this point.
Okay. So nobody's supposed to ask defining the question. That's my role. That's you stole my game, Jesse. If I brought out a whiteboard, I'd be stealing your game. No, I contain.
Let's switch roles next week.
Next week. I don't want to switch roles with you next week, buddy.
All right. I want to. Oh, here we go. We're getting deep now. We're getting deep. All right. I want to leave us time. We've got some game props that we've got coming up here. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will hit some game props for tomorrow's Notre Dame Arkansas game that is coming up next. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. Well, that was a quick timeout.
Not long enough.
We're back. We're ready to go. Notre Dame, Arkansas coming up tomorrow. We've got game props for tomorrow's game. You guys want to build a parlay for me to start things off? Jesse, do you have a parlay for me?
Yeah, I do. Jeremiah Love touchdown, Jadarian Price touchdown, over on Jadarian Price rushing yards.
Okay, and Jadarian Price's rushing yards are 56.5.
So you're not going to put the money line. You're listening to Sean because that's what he always says. Don't ruin your bets by betting the winner.
That's right. Keep the money line out of your parlay. That's exactly right.
So I think Notre Dame's going to run the ball a lot.
I do too.
I think they're going to try to keep the defense off the field. I think they're going to try to have long game tempo, control the game. It's an early game. You're on the road. It's going to be a big environment. I think that they're going to want to run the ball. And I think Jadarian Price, I mean, the man has just been unstoppable what feels like these first 3 games. And to me, when you're getting that steady dose of Jeremiah Love, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, crap, now I got to deal with a fresh Jadarian Price. He's also a really freaking good running back. And 56.5, he could get majority of that in one run, it feels like.
Well, and that's what I asked last week, and I'm curious what you think. I said, who looks better so far this year? This before the Purdue game. I said Price or Love. To be completely honest, their yards per carry are similar. Price has had more explosive plays.
Yeah, but he gets it's hard because he gets the advantage of coming in right after Love. Like Love does all of the work, getting the body shots in, and then Price gets to come in and just throw haymakers, you know?
But he's also a little bit more patient. Like he waits a little.
2 different running styles.
Yeah, exactly. He waits a little bit.
Love wants to get that ball down the throat right now.
Mm-hmm.
Price wants to kind of wait, see a lane, and then hit it. And usually he's pressing to the outside. That's his game, is he waits and then he presses outside.
And what a wonderful discussion you can have, right, with that backfield. To answer your question about the parlay, because of exactly what you said, I say take the under on Carr, which was set for 244.5, I believe.
Yes.
Take the under on that, take the over on Price, and then anytime touchdown Love.
Okay.
And then I would also throw in a Notre Dame money line on top of it just to get more odds.
Ooh,
but
okay.
I don't want to make Sean angry because
the only reason I'd stay away from Carr yards is if the defense starts messing up, then you're getting in a shootout where Notre Dame has to pass the ball.
Yeah, see, and
then I'm losing the rushing yards anyway. So
yeah.
Carr's over under is 244.5, and Tommy was asking over under 300 yards and 4.5 touchdowns for CJ Carr. Those are very healthy numbers, and I just think that Notre Dame's running game is going to be such a big part of this game. I think Carr is still going to have a nice looking day, but I just don't know about the passing yards at this point, because I think like here's my parlay. I've got Jeremiah Love, Jeremiah Love, 110 plus yards, Malachi Fields, 60 plus receiving yards, and Jadarian Price, 50 plus rushing yards. That's my 3-leg parlay.
Over on all of them.
It's not over. This is not an over under. This is alternate yards on all of them. So as opposed to over, I mean, like the numbers that we have, those are all not quite. It's not an over for Jadarian Price just based on the 50 plus, but Price's over under is 56.5. But I just went alternate rushing yards for those 3. Love to get at least 110, Fields to get 60 plus, and Jadarian Price to get 50 plus. So that's my 3.
But you don't like touching anytime touchdown scores then?
I just no.
Jesse, do you?
When it's Jeremiah Love.
Yeah. I see some of these bets. That's what makes it fun, right? The odds, like you said, the one about 300 yards and 4.5 touchdowns. I mean, if the odds are like plus 10,000, you put $1 on them to win.
Why not?
10. Yeah.
So here are Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback's numbers: 268.5 passing yards, 54.5 rushing yards. Are you like just
tempting,
looking at them?
Yeah.
I'm feeling overs on both of those. What about you guys?
I'm feeling overs, but the fan in me so hard wants to say unders.
This is such an intriguing matchup because I think in the first quarter, if Notre Dame gets the ball and goes down and runs the ball, melts most of the first quarter, gets a touchdown right away, that they're going to be in like panic mode almost already, Arkansas. So I'm going to say the over for the rushing because I think he's going to keep trying, but I think that the defense finally stops a little bit of the passing. That's kind of a high passing
See, I'm more
number.
confident in the over on the passing yards than the rushing
Same.
yards, actually.
I'd take the under on the rushing and over on the passing, but
it's tough because it's easier to get to the lower number. That's what makes me always want to bet the rushing numbers because it's easy. You break one or two, or the receiving numbers. They're just so obtainable. It takes a couple plays and you're already there. But then the passing, you have to have a whole good game worth of passing.
Tommy wants to know over under 25.5 rushing.
is that his actual line?
I don't think he has a line. At least on FanDuel, he doesn't.
I was going to say, if that's his line, I am absolutely hammering that under. I don't think they want him running the ball anymore.
I don't think so either.
They don't want him running it. They don't really want him rolling out of the pocket. And then also he's had a game with 0 yards already rushing or negative. So
yep.
I would split.
I learned the hard way too. Sacks work against quarterbacks' total yards in college.
I was going to say for either of you, the bet for me on those rushing yards for CJ would be 0.5.
Yeah, same.
Honestly, like that would be the
Might
one
be
that would
right.
make me intrigued to bet.
Yeah. The game point total is 63.5. I just don't see any way this is under.
I already bet the over, so
That I would combine in my parlay. I would be confident in the if you're not picking overs on Notre Dame for the rest of the season, man.
until proven otherwise.
Yep. And yeah, they could almost get there by themselves. Like last week.
I know.
The over-unders, for some reason, when I bet, make me feel a lot less stressed. I just enjoy the game more. I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm like, just get your points.
Points.
Just
So
keep
too.
going.
Show me some football.
Yeah, I think it's the over.
All right, we're going to have to wrap it up with that. We've got Notre Dame football coming up. Noon kickoff tomorrow here on Sports Radio WSBT. And again, don't forget, the game day show begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Tim, Jim, Eric, and Tyler will all be out there. They'll be with you for 3.5 hours leading into the Notre Dame Radio Network's coverage. Bobby Hensley, thanks for coming in again.
Always a pleasure.
Jesse Stiers, great work all week. You got a short week next week, I know, and glad to have Vince back in hour number 1 as well. Guys, have a great weekend. I will talk to you later.
Good luck
Go
next
Irish.
week, Jesse.
Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat, IrishBreakdown.com.